Okay, so it's that time once again to check out another system. Now, I just want to say right off the bat that I'm not necessarily saying this is a system recommended for you to go build, because some of these parts are probably not even available anymore. So basically it's like this. Up in my room, I didn't have anything to watch TV, game, or anything else. I had just an older Mac in there, so I was like, I really want to upgrade my room, have something that I can not only play my games on, but watch my movies, an all-around system for myself. That's right, it's a little selfish little system. I should call the system the selfish system, because it's all for me. But anyways, it's not. This system's called the King's Throne. It's a pretty cool system. I think you guys are going to like it. Now, I want to say something. Many people out there live in rural areas, or they just don't have the technical skills to build these crazy liquid cool systems with all hardened pipes and looking like the badass shit you can get from some of these crazy, build sites for $5,000. But if you're in one of these areas, you want to build yourself a system. Well, today's video you can consider as a kind of guide. You can watch Anthony build the system, see how he does the cable management, see how everything's done, and all of the parts, other than pretty much I think the case, are still available, so you can put those in any case you want, because I know people are very picky about it. So if you don't like this case, you don't even have to use it, but you can find a case that's similar to it and build your system around it, because beyond that, the parts in the system are pretty amazing. Now, there are no moving drives at this moment. None. Absolutely none. There are moving fans on the video cards and to keep the system running, but all of the drives are PCI SSD or M2 SSD, making this thing frickin' fast as hell, quiet, and there's absolutely no moving drives, which means that, that shit's just going to be very fast and access everything super quick. So with that said though, let's check out my new personal system, the King's Throne. So starting off, obviously we're going to be using a Rosewill case. Now, this is the Throne. This is a badass case though. It looks really cool. The whole front lights up blue, it's white, it's got a window. The window's kind of trippy though, because it had this giant fan in it that I couldn't see the system in, so we just took that damn thing off all the way. And you'll see when we do the system build that we just have that completely off. Now, this case is no longer available through Amazon or anybody. I couldn't find this case. Maybe you could find one out there, but it does look nice. And when you see the build, you'll see that there's just so much room inside of the Throne, that cable management, multiple cards, power supplies, tons of hard drives are just totally able to be stuck inside this thing. But if you want to do the build in black, the black case is actually available for $89, which is a pretty cool deal for a case this size, because it competes with some of the bigger cases with some of the bigger names. The motherboard is the ASRock LGA 2011 V3X99 Taichi. Now, this motherboard not only looks awesome, it functions very, very well. It's laid out nicely, can do an SLI build with no problem whatsoever. The price is pretty decent. It's not up in the $500, just around the $200 range. And just for the looks and all the features with it, I felt it was a great choice for this build. The CPU is the Intel Core i7-6800K processor. Now, this thing can turbo mode up to 3.6 gigahertz. It's priced at about $414, so it's still a little bit expensive, but this is a very fast CPU. One of the most expensive parts in the system, however, is the PCI Express 3.0 Intel SSD. Now, this is the 750 series. It's 1.2 terabytes. This thing's incredible, but it's $770, so it's almost $1,000 just for the SSD. I'm now the king of excess. And the other drive I have in the system, this thing's brand new from Corsair, and this is the Corsair Force MP500 series. Now, this is an M2 drive, it's 480 gigabytes, and trust me, M2 is absolutely amazingly fast. So you can store a lot of games on 480 gigabytes, and they're gonna be accessed like. For the memory, I wanted something that was not only fast, but looked cool. So I asked the people at Patriot if they had anything, and they sent me a really cool 32 gigabyte kit. Now, this is just 2 sticks of 2800 megahertz DDR4. It's the Viper Elite series, and oh, it looks cool. For cooling the CPU, we wanted something that was really nice but could fit right inside the case without any problem. We found that in the Corsair Hydro Series H100i. Now, this is an all-in-one liquid cooler that'll keep your CPU running cool, and it fits this system just perfectly, as we had absolutely no problem sticking it inside the Throne case, which you'll see in the build. For the video cards, I decided to go once again with 2 GeForce GTX 1080 Founders Edition cards in SLI. Why? Because I really like these cards. In the future, if I decide I want to liquid cool them, I can easily pull that cover off, and any of the major brands, I can stick their liquid cooler on it and upgrade my system even farther and make it totally liquid cooled. And powering up this throne system is once again something by Rosewill. Now this is a 1300 watt, 80 plus gold certified power supply called the Lightning 1300. And this thing is pretty damn bitchin'. It lights up, all of the different connections are modular, and those light up different colors as well, so you can get a lot of different colors inside your build going with the thing. And with 1300 watts, it doesn't matter what I want to stick inside this thing, you know it's going to power it with lots of room to breathe. One thing I want to take note of, because I know that people are going to say, hey man, wow, 1300 watt power supply is like overkill, it's a waste. But I'm going to be honest with you, in a lot of ways, it's really not. If you're using a really super duper high-end power supply and you have lots of room on it that's not being used, that means your power supply is not being stressed at all and it's going to last much longer. So now that we've seen that, let's check out Anthony Reynolds, our man in house, and show you a time-lapse video of him putting the system completely together. And believe it or not, following these methods with a little time and a little patience, you could build a system just like this for yourself. Now let's check out that time-lapse build.
change.
So that was pretty cool, right? Anthony building that system in a time lapse. And what's best of all is that for you people out there who don't have the technical skill to build some crazy liquid cool system with hard pipes and all these crazy stuff, you can actually build this build. There was nothing that was done in this build that takes some great superior technical knowledge or great, mechanical skill to build. If you take your time, you can do a build like this yourself. Now, with that said though, let's run a few tests and let's check out how the system performs. Now, some of the tests that we did, especially Geekbench, we actually tested against the very highest end iMac that you can get. Now, the iMac's supposed to be the superior computer for doing all your editing and all that stuff. People, rave on and on about it. Well, this system in multi-core is actually faster. In single core, since the iMac has a 4.0 processor and this has a 3.6 gigahertz, it gets beat in single, but in pretty much everything else, the Throne just kicks its ass. We tested in both 1440 and 4K, and you guys can see that this machine kicks ass in gaming. Even 4K stuff is being played great. Some games being over 100 frames per second, some a little under, but overall, just kicking ass. Obviously, because some games are going to be different than others, the scores are different, but overall, it's kicking ass. All right, so there you have it. The Lord of Excess system, the King's Throne, where I can go like this. I look down at you, you PC peasants, down my snooty nose. No. But honestly, you guys know this system has a lot of expensive parts. It's pretty much the Lord of Excess. You don't honestly need a PCI SSD, but if you want the absolute killer shit and the most expensive shit, well then hey, we'll have a link down below to all these parts. Once again, you guys can make your own choices about what you want to use in your build. I know you can build a cheaper system out there. I'm quite aware of that. I can go to PC Parts Picker and just choose the absolute stuff and click a button and go, hey, here's a system. Anybody can do that. But taking the time to choose the parts, build a system and put it all together, that's a different thing. My main theme about this for you folks is that you could actually build this system. You don't need any great knowledge. I've been stressing that throughout the entire video. But if you want to do this build, like I said, down below that like button, which you better do something with, will be all the information. Now, I'll be making a few more changes to the system, like I'm going to be putting in a Blu-ray player, and then I'm going to get a bunch of hard drives and run them in RAID so I can store all my movies and all my music and all that and make this the ultimate multimedia and gaming system. So I'm Elric. You've been watching Tech of Tomorrow, and before I go out of here, let me just once again say, PC peasants.